Well, James Marlow is a journalist and security analyst who returned to the UK last night after spending the last few weeks reporting from Israel, including spending time close to the border with Lebanon. James, very good evening to you. I suppose the simple answer to why Israel is ignoring the ceasefire claims is because it feels it's on a mission and is not going to be diverted from whatever pleas come in from whoever makes them.
Nice to be with you again, Iain. You're partly right, but also there is 65 to 80,000 residents who have fled from their homes. I got to talk to some of those. Sometimes they go back. That's the reason why it's between 65,000 to 80,000, because sometimes they go back, but their families have been dispersed across the country. In some cases, families are breaking up. Children, in some cases, have not had school for a year. Almost a year, because there's been not a day that has gone by since October the 8th that Hezbollah has not been firing missiles and rockets and drone attacks into northern Israel. But the objective from the Israeli government, and I just heard Netanyahu's landed in New York right now for the UN General Assembly conference, or his speech for tomorrow. He was just speaking in Hebrew to the Israeli media, and he has just reiterated that Israel has to keep going strong against Hezbollah strongholds in the north, in the south, in the Bekaa Valley, because if you don't do that, the residents simply won't come back. They're too scared to come back. The president of Israel just a couple of days ago also saw the intelligence that before Israel hit in the last week, that they were planning a similar attack. This is the Radwan forces from Hezbollah were planning a similar attack to what Hamas did on October the 7th. That's why Israel hit very badly. And the Hezbollah just don't know how to respond. In the last few days, they've lost about 1,200 military commanders, plus the walkie-talkie thing. You've also got the beeper thing. They know that they've got an intelligence breach, and they just don't know how to respond. But at the same time, that they can also hit Israel really hard. They've got about 300,000 rockets focused and pointed at Israel. Some of them are ballistic missiles. They can hit Tel Aviv, they can hit Jerusalem, they can hit the south of Israel, Beersheba. Israel knows this, but they're not responding at this point. The military are asking the question why, and it could be because Israel is waiting for that, and then they will hit back really, really hard.
And they would have no alternative to hit back really hard in that circumstance, would they?
Well, Israel says it has no alternative to hit back hard right now because 11 months has gone by. And I've noticed a lot of the world media has really just been covering this in the last, say, 2 or 3 weeks or in the last month. I mean, I've been speaking on LBC News, the global sister station, and other stations as well. And I've been reminding over the last 6 months that eventually Israel is going to do something about it. Until this point, it's been a war of attrition. And then the Israelis just said, up to now, it's war of attrition, rather, and now we're going to take steps. And one of the reasons why they're doing that is because the municipalities across the north and also the regional councils, and you have to remember, some of them are actually run by Arabs. So the Arabs, the Israeli Arabs, are calling upon the Israeli government, don't leave us here like sitting chickens. Do something about this. And so the pressure was really mounting up on the Israeli government, and they finally hit back.
Do you think a ground invasion is inevitable at some point, even if it doesn't happen immediately? Because up till now, I mean, Israel, in some ways, and some people will laugh when I say this, but Israel is, in this particular dispute war with Hezbollah, they have been targeting in a way that I think in Gaza, people think they didn't target. I mean, the beeper thing, which, I mean, Israel still hasn't actually claimed responsibility for, but I mean, I don't know who else would have done it. That was targeted, wasn't it? And a lot of the strikes which had taken out these commanders that you talk about, very, very targeted. But by definition, a ground invasion, it isn't that targeted, is it?
Well, the reason why there would be a ground invasion, and we're both old enough to remember 1982, the reason why Israel went into Lebanon, it was only supposed to be as far as the Bekaa Valley. was at that point, it was the PLO who were almost every day for about 2 years bombing northern Israel. The world media was just counting it as an everyday border incident and weren't covering it any longer. And eventually something was going to happen. Now, I was just speaking with a couple of friends who their sons have been called up today. Also, last night I was on the telephone to people from Bushey in Hertfordshire. They said that they've just actually got a text to say that their grandson has been called up to the northern border. The troops are along the northern border. I'm not revealing any information that is not known by the satellites or by world's intelligence, intelligence from different countries. That does not necessarily mean that there is an invasion, an imminent invasion. What Israel wants, what Israel insists on, is that the United Nations implements Security Council Resolution 1701. This dates back to 2006, the last Lebanon war, which pushes the Hezbollah and all of its ammunition, its rockets, its drones, and everything else right back to the Litany River. Struggle to say that for a second, I haven't said it for a while, which is about 18 miles north of the Israeli border. So that's what they're demanding for the United Nations Security Council resolution to be implemented. It was never, ever put into place. As soon as the war finished, Hezbollah came straight down. And what they do is they embed themselves within the residential communities. Those people down there, the Lebanese, they don't want Hezbollah, but they've got no other choice. Now the Lebanese communities in the south, a lot of them have been driven out by Israeli telephone calls, by Israeli texts, and also by the leaflets as well. And Israel says you will not come back to your homes until the Israeli residents are allowed to come back to their homes. So this is not the beginning. This is not the end. This is not in the middle. We're in that sort of middle stage where we just don't know what is going to take place.
James,
but it falls to Hezbollah.
James, thank you very much indeed. That's James Marlow there. Well, let's look at what